that person can look like a righteous person. Those deeds that they do, we would even have to say and admit that they are good things, that they are behaving properly. And yet in that person's heart, they begin to rise above the congregation. They begin to look at the other children of God and wonder and think that why do they so often have to beg for grace and mercy? Why do they so often have to raise their hand and say, can such a poor one such as me believe? In this gospel, they begin to despise and they begin to criticize. And they say, we do not need so often to use this gospel, that we can simply trust and we can believe, because in their own heart they feel that they have been successful. They feel like they have not needed so often the gift of confession. They feel like they have not needed to be grace beggars. And they have felt like they understand. And they see matters more clearly than the other believers. And they often rise up to become teachers in God's kingdom. And yet in God's kingdom we have seen and we have sensed and we have felt that there is also something foreign that has come into that message. Something foreign that has come into that voice. And we've seen it most recently in this last heresy, when those that rose up as teachers, and they become wiser than God's kingdom, and they begin to look down on the poor believer, the grace beggars, as too simple-minded, is not understanding enough. And they even begin to demand that you need to understand this and that part, that you have to read and let me help you understand. And the Holy Spirit was no longer their teacher. They became self-reliant on their own understanding. They became self-reliant in a self-contained group. How dangerous of a matter this is. When one begins to rise in himself in this way and no longer see God's kingdom as necessary, no longer sees God's kingdom as a beautiful golden candlestick,